Barack Obama, ladies and gentlemen, took an oath. Not that that means anything, but he took an oath to faithfully execute his duties. And what he's doing in this Defense of Marriage Act is abandoning the defense of the law, which means there's no one left to defend it. The President of the United States and his corrupt Attorney General just decided that the law is unconstitutional, a law that dates all the way back to Bill Clinton. They just don't like the law. So he's going to repeal the law, or part of it, by refusing to defend it. This is really extraordinary. We can apply the age-old test. Imagine if this were Richard Nixon. Imagine if this were George W. Bush, and the law were abortion. Jeff Lord at American Spectator has a funny piece today. Sarah Palin's new Attorney General, Mark Levin, has just decided that Roe versus Wade's unconstitutional. They're just going to decide not to defend abortion anymore. It's silly. And they're just going to effectively pretend it doesn't exist. Can you imagine the outcry? Very extraordinary. And particularly from a liberty point of view. There's a pattern of abuse here. Obama is encouraging lawlessness in Arizona. He is encouraging lawlessness in Wisconsin. He is undermining state governments everywhere he can, particularly if they're battleground states, which Wisconsin is. He's ordering his Justice Department not to defend a federal law. Nobody has said the law is unconstitutional other than Obama and Holder, and they don't have the power to do that. Obama is ignoring court orders he doesn't like, such as drilling moratorium laws in the Gulf of Mexico, and, of course, the DOMA, Defense of Marriage Act. The president is lawless. The evidence is mounting every day. And the only ones blind to it are his ass-kissers in the media. And they're not, I don't care. A leftist is a leftist. I don't know whether they're a journalist, so-called journalist, or whether they're a pundit, whether they are a member of Congress or whatever. Leftists are leftists. And they're in fact, I think these guys they're celebrating. They're having all kinds of fun here. You got a prank caller to the governor of Wisconsin pretending to be David Koch. Oh, wow, how creative. Well, this is wonderful. This is whatever it takes to defeat conservatives, because the enemy's not Muammar Khadafy. The enemy is not al-Qaeda. The enemy is not terrorist organizations. No, the enemy is conservative Republicans. That's the enemy that the American left lines up against. I don't even think his ass-kissers in the media are blind to it. They are active supporters. They encourage this lawlessness. They applaud it. They laugh. They celebrate it. They love it whenever one of their own pulls the wool over our eyes, they think. They love it when one of their own tricks us or defeats us. That's one of the reasons they loved Clinton so much. Look, let's not forget, Obama's Environmental Protection Agency is in effect legislating now when it comes to carbon dioxide, imposing rules on citizens that Congress has not passed. In fact, rules that Congress has refused to pass. What we are witnessing here is a deterioration of our society, our norms, our systems. It's what it is. De Tocqueville referred to it as, Tocqueville. The elitists get upset if you mispronounce the last name. It's Alexis de Tocqueville. But if you don't say Alexis, it's just Tocqueville. You leave off the duh. Anyway, Tocqueville referred to this as soft tyranny. What is soft tyranny? Obama using executive orders, regulations, and now withholding the defense of laws he doesn't like to run the government out of his office. These czars, as we have discussed on countless previous occasions, exist simply to bypass cabinet offices. And they're unaccountable. Nobody knows who they are. Nobody knows what they make. They've never been confirmed to anything. As I said earlier, if Nixon or Reagan or Bush 43 had done this on a different issue, such as abortion or whatever, what would the left say? For a president to ignore a federal law for him to, not just ignore it, but to announce he's going to ignore it, to have a big ceremony, essentially, a big press conference to announce he's going to ignore the law. For him to act as legislature and court through the back door like this is troubling, folks. It is hugely troubling. There would be headlines blazing across every newspaper. Network news anchors jumping all over it. And if nothing were done about it, they'd be jumping out of windows. They'd be demanding impeachment. Dare I say, if a Bush 43, a Reagan or Nixon had done anything like this, the headlines today would be screaming for impeachment. So what has to be done is a continuing expose, education of the public. Continue to let people know what's going on, because then they get it. They find out. Media is all ecstatic today. General Motors making a profit. The news is reported ceaselessly. Didn't they get lots and lots of special favors from this government? Tax breaks and so forth? So when General Motors reports a profit, the media is all excited. It's the government reporting a profit. There are two words that define this president and his administration: reckless and lawless. One of the most brutal, evil, anti-American tyrants of our time is facing a massive popular revolt that is threatening to finally remove him from power, and Obama cannot find the time to say anything about it. Speaking here of Gaddafi, however he spells it. And when the president finally does say something about it, he doesn't even dare mention Khadafy by name. Doesn't dare mention Khadafy by name. What does that tell you about Mr. Obama? Now, the media now trying to explain away Obama's lack of specific mention of Khadafy because there's still Americans stuck in Libya. But weren't there Americans in Egypt when Obama was demanding that Mubarak step down immediately? You noticed Obama's on the wrong side of just about every conflict. Georgia versus Russia, Honduras, Iran. He's not supporting the pro-democracy revolt in Iran. Egypt, no way. And until yesterday, Libya. He's been on the wrong side of just about every conflict. Maybe it's just an accident. Well, what a track record, though, for somebody who took a course in international affairs as an undergraduate. We're going to go back to the campaign. Mrs. Clinton questioning Obama's foreign policy credentials. Obama's rejoinder, no. I lived over there till I was 10 years old. I have seen it. Mrs. Clinton said, we really need more experience than that. Somebody who lived in Middle Eastern countries until he was 10 years old. We have audio sound bites. Let's start here. This is the ridiculous Obama speech on Libya last night from the White House. First of a series of sound bites.
First, we are doing everything we can to protect American citizens. That is my highest priority. In Libya, we've urged our people to leave the country, and the State Department is assisting those in need of support.
Right. No mention of Khadafy. Just Libya. Here's another excerpt.
We strongly condemn the use of violence in Libya. The American people extend our deepest condolences to the families and loved ones of all who've been killed and injured. The suffering and bloodshed is outrageous, and it is unacceptable. So are threats and orders to shoot peaceful protesters and further punish the people of Libya. These actions violate international norms and every standard of common decency. This violence must stop.
You tell them, Mr. President. You tell them. By golly, you tell them. You bring down the hammer. That violence must stop. Damn straight it must stop. Well, it's great to see our president on the case. The violence must stop. Now, I don't recall when we're talking about Egypt and the president was addressing that issue, I don't recall him mentioning the UN, do you? Well, he did, talking last night about Libya.
In a volatile situation like this one, it is imperative that the nations and peoples of the world speak with one voice, and that That has been our focus. Yesterday, a unanimous UN Security Council sent a clear message that it condemns the violence in Libya, supports accountability for the perpetrators, and stands with the Libyan people.
Great. Well, we'll slough it off to the UN. Still hasn't mentioned Khadafy by name. Did not dare do so. I think I saw that Libya still maintains its position on the Human Rights Commission at the United Nations, despite all this. Yeah, I think they do. You may remember us mentioning this story last year. This is April 17th of last year from a website called ynetnews.com. And it's a story quoting Gaddafi. Barack Obama is friend. Libyan leader praises U.S. president. Says he is of Muslim descent. His policy should be supported as he now leans toward peace. By the way, Hugo Chavez is aligned with Gaddafi. Chavez is telling Gaddafi, yeah, you know what? If we get together, we can totally change the balance of the world, getting rid of Western imperialism. So Hugo Chavez, who has had handshakes and laughs and smiles with Barack Obama, now in unison, in support with Muammar Gaddafi. Libyan leader Gaddafi considers the U.S. president a blessing to the Muslim world, according to this story, ynetnews.com. In a speech published in London-based Al-Hayat newspaper on Saturday, Gaddafi praised Obama, calling him a friend, said there is no longer any dispute between his country and the U.S. Speaking in the Libyan city of Sirte, at an event marking the 24th anniversary of an American attack on Libya, he said, at the time, we were the target of the American cannon. The American Navy challenged us in the Gulf of Sirte and attacked us all along Libya's shores. America tested Libya, and the Libyan people resisted the large country. But today, we thank God, the difference is great. He said, now, ruling America is a black man from our continent, an African from Arab descent, from Muslim descent, and this is something we never imagined, that from Reagan we would get to Barack Obama. Gaddafi stressed that Obama's presidency is a major historical gain. He's someone I consider a friend. He knows he's a son of African belonging. He is of Arab Sudanese descent or of Muslim descent. He is a man whose policy should be supported, and he should be assisted in implementing it in any way possible, since he is now leaning towards peace. Gaddafi continued, I urge all peoples to give him this chance and to support this policy, because America is a country that, when its policy is bad, harms the world, and when it is good, it helps the world. The Libyan leader, in his speech, also expressed hopes that the dream that Obama has for a world free of nuclear weapons will come true. This is something no previous American president has proposed. Obama's a man who opposes wars that previous American presidents were entangled in. He has declared that he will withdraw from Afghanistan and Iraq, something which has never been proposed before. Well, no wonder Gaddafi's throwing a temper tantrum. We haven't gotten out of Gitmo. We haven't gotten out of Iraq. We haven't gotten out of Afghanistan. We threw Mubarak overboard. And we're not getting rid of our nuclear weapons yet, although we've taken a couple of steps. So Muammar Gaddafi feeling betrayed here by his buddy. September 28th, 2009, CNN's Larry King Live. He interviewed Muammar Gaddafi. Larry King said, what are your thoughts about our president, Barack Obama?
My views are identical to the American views. And we pray for him that he would be able to achieve the visions that he has in his mind and made it public, and we are comfortable.
Did you say he should be president forever?
I hope so. I wish that.
Why?
Because the vision he has will save America, will save the world. His vision.
So, King, where do you get this question? Did you say he should be president forever? Gaddafi's translated, yeah. Why? So, Gaddafi has been very open about his love for, admiration of Barack Obama. Obama makes a speech on Libya, doesn't mention Gaddafi's name. What are you laughing at in there? What are you laughing at? Folks, I got to tell you, he's gone crazy in there. I've had these laughing spells myself. They had to take me out of the classroom and get me a glass of water. But you're literally going, what do you think this whole first segment is a media tweak of the day? Or is it just, how funny it sounds to talk about Khadafy and his friend Obama? You think that sounds funny? You think that sounds funny?